Hello, everyone. Welcome to Artist Table Talk. I'm the host for today, Kathryn Marshburn. I'm a 13-year veteran in the music industry, and I'm super excited to talk about rebranding, talking about music artists and how important the rebranding process is and how it can really affect your overall marketing results, your career, getting to that fan base as Gen Z and those millennials for sure. Today, I'm super excited to have a global marketing expert, Lisa Perry, join me today. Welcome. Welcome to Artist Table Talk.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about this with you.
Awesome. Well, let's jump right in. Question, what is rebranding?
Well, rebranding is a strategy in which your brand identity is changed to influence how it's perceived among consumers and stakeholders. It's important to know that rebranding can be risky, but when it's done correctly, it can be hugely successful. There are a number of things that go into rebranding that music artists should consider. One thing is you can update your whole identity, or you can just focus on your name, your design, to your messaging. You can also incorporate a new image or look, or you can just release new or different music. Some artists have even just completely wiped out their social media and started fresh with new content. Or you can incorporate and collaborate with partners, uh, rebranding and repositioning yourself that way. But it's important to note that being an artist, it's a creative process where you're constantly evolving and adapting to the dynamic trends of the marketplace.
Yeah, that's a great description. I think about artists when they rebrand as a time in their life, maybe a period where they might be aging up. They might be looking at a different genre. Their music, the experiences they've had might be totally different. So I love that definition. Do you think there's a particular time or reason that you might consider rebranding, or why would someone rebrand? What's your thoughts?
Well, there are a number of uh, things that artists should consider in a rebranding, and quite honestly, we could spend the whole time just talking about that in this half hour. But let me just focus on a few key ones right now that artists should consider. The first is the evolution of an artist's style as they grow and develop. Their style and expression changes, and so a rebranding really helps them evolve and showcase their new creative direction. Take Prince, for example. He his style evolved throughout the years as he was in pop, funk, rock, jazz. It continually evolved. Another thing to consider is a shift in target audience. So this helps you realign your image and your marketing materials as you focus on a different target audience. Ariana Grande, she did this with, she was a Nickelodeon teen idol. She shifted to a pop artist, shifting her target audience. Another thing to consider is brand repositioning. As you refine your messaging and your image to align with your values, your beliefs, and your vision, that's another opportunity. Take the Disney stars, Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears. They all redefined their image to align with their vision of where they wanted their music career to go. Another thing that artists should consider in a rebranding is relevance, right? This gives them new life in their careers as they breathe fresh and relevance into their journey. Katy Perry is a great example of this. She was a huge pop star with songs like "I Kissed a Girl," and then her career started to wane, and so she pivoted as she launched her album "Witness" in order to gain relevance among her audience. Another thing for artists to consider in rebranding is breaking from stereotypes. Rebranding gives you an opportunity to break free from being typecast into a particular genre or style. Carrie Underwood, she did this from crossing over from country to pop. And the last thing I want to have people consider in terms of a rebranding is overcoming negative perceptions. So rebranding can help you distance yourself from negative press or even controversies that are going on in the marketplace. Take Justin Bieber, right? Early on in his career, he had, huge media controversies about being rebellious. And then in 2015, he launched his Pulse album with his hit song, Sorry, which is directed directly at his fans on his reflection, his growth, his maturity, distancing himself from that media controversy. So these are 6 really powerful rebranding strategies that artists can use, but it's important that they should be used and approached thoughtfully and strategically, and they should seek professional, advice from a brand marketing expert so that these can be approached and ensured successful rebranding process and execution.
That's awesome. I love everything that you said. In particular, I love the power of rebranding. Okay, so when I worked at Atlantic Records, I was able to see actually from the signing date to the launch of big albums and procurement on the meta side, I could see the success of indie artists that came in and they had like this self-awareness. I can't really describe it except I can compare it back to old school artist development back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, where labels and management teams pretty much ran, I would say, I'm just going to say minors and teens through these heavy artist development camps, like running up and down the stairs and singing to build up like your lung capacity, which was very popular, to like rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing. It was just like this kind of known fact. This is before the internet. This known fact that if you get signed to a label, that you're going to have a team develop you. And sometimes, like back in the day when it was Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, Whitney Houston, Jennifer Lopez, when they were all kind of competing for the spots in music, a lot of them had amazing vocals. Some of them did not. But today, what's so different and opens up the door for indie artists, in my opinion, is that today it's really about the indie artist that is self-aware and that knows how to promote themselves. Like that's the strength and the talent. It's no longer, can you play an instrument? Do you have good vocals? It's really going to be, I know who I am, because Gen Z and millennials are demanding that. They want an authentic artist, and that's a huge shift. So it opens the door for indies who work hard and put the time in to really get in there. And if they are self-aware, they can really develop their brand. And then as they get better and better, they can rebrand. When you rebrand, a lot of people who are looking at you are labels, agents, management team. They're all watching because they want to find the next big thing. And social media really is the place to find it. And when you rebrand properly, man, it's so valuable. So I find rebranding to be so powerful. Lisa, on that note, what do you think about the perfect strategy, or like what's a good plan to roll out, and what should an artist be thinking about for a successful rebrand?
Well, there are 6 things, and first is assessment, and I think you just hit on the key thing, right? Self-awareness, and that comes into assessment. An artist really has to understand who they are, and that is understanding that self-awareness that you just eloquently said. It's identifying what their current identity is in addition to their past work. What is it about them? What is their unique selling point, their unique point of difference that helps them stand out among the competition? They have to get a handle on that. And if they don't know, this leads me into my second point, is research. They've got to do research. They need to understand their competition. They need to understand the market trends. They need to understand who they want to go after. And when we're shifting in terms of rebranding, who is their desired target audience? What is that demographic? What are their likes? what are their dislikes? Where are they hanging out? They need to know everything about that target audience. And they need to understand overall, is this market saturated? Is this target audience saturated? And then in terms of, their unique points of difference, they have direct connection with their audience through social media, through events when they're performing. So utilize that. Take advantage of getting feedback when they're at events. Have somebody go around and get feedback through little surveys. Hand out promotional swag to say, hey, here's a free shirt. Will you fill out a survey? And then they're promoting them in the meantime as well. So it's a double bang. Connect with them on social media, get feedback in order to figure out what is it about your style that is unique and different. And that leads me into my third point on the rebranding. This is when you want to define your brand story. Craft that compelling story about your artistic journey, your values, your aspirations. What emotionally is going to connect you to your audience? You want to define your goals, your rebranding. What is important in this rebranding journey? You want to define that here. And that leads me into my fourth point is you've got to have a very well executed rollout plan. And that plan needs to include what is your online optimization? You've got your website, you've got your social media, any digital paid ads. That all has to showcase your rebrand, and it has to be very well integrated. You've got your content strategy. What does that look like? You want to showcase your rebrand and your new creative direction. You've got to lay that out. You've got to have your PR and your media outreach. You want to announce your rebranding and generate buzz. And then you're at events, right? You've got an event strategy. You want to attract attention and support. So you've got to lay out what that event strategy is, and then community. You want to create and nurture a community so you can drive brand loyalty around this rebranding. And then the last part of this well-executed rollout plan is monitoring and evaluating. You want to develop KPIs, key performance indicators, so that you can assess your rebranding strategy. Is it working? Is it not working? Not everything is going to go perfectly, and that's okay. But you want to track, you want to monitor, you want to tweak, iterate, and continue that process so that you can fine-tune this rebranding strategy.
You hit the nail on the head. I love everything that you said. In fact, I was wondering what you would think about this concept of kind of rebranding therapy for artists. I think that you put a storyboard in front of them and have them cut out pictures or ideas and be as creative as possible and really put together something amazing that they can either share at the label or with their marketing team or by themselves, just to really think through what their rebrand looks like. It needs to be consistent and focused. And in my opinion, I feel like music and the releases today are, that's the number one driver for most music artists, of course, is the content. But people are looking for more than just that. They're looking for a backstory. They're looking for fashion. They're looking for style. They're looking for a voice in everyday life. And so I think rebranding gives you the opportunity to complement the music, and really I have to be really kind of respectful about this. I think that for press outlets, it's huge. It's huge to have a new rebranding story so that press outlets can pick it up and really push it out. So that's where I've seen it to be really impactful from a budget standpoint, especially for indie artists. So yeah. Thank you, Lisa. That was freaking awesome. So let's chat on some of our favorite rebrands, some examples of our favorite girls. What do you got?
Well, I think one of the most iconic ones right now in terms of rebranding is Taylor Swift, right? She has rebranded herself from a country sweetheart to a global pop superstar. And she's probably one of the most influential artist of our generation right now. And her rebrand strategy has had a number of key tactics that I want to go through. The first one I've already mentioned, right, is her music genre shift from country to pop star with her 1989 album release. That was hugely successful. It sold 1 million copies in the first week, and it was the most awarded pop album artist in the history. So hugely successful right out the gate. The second strategy she did was her focusing on her public persona. She cultivated a persona that was vulnerable, it was authentic, it was down to earth. And she did this by actively engaging with press and social media in order to drive a dedicated and loyal fan base. And we haven't seen this kind of dedication and loyalty in generations. The other thing is that she focused on was a narrative shift to more mature themes and storytellings with love, heartbreak, and personal growth. She also has a visual transformation to more sophisticated and stylish image. And the last thing that she focused on was a global appeal, collaborating with international artists and embarking on a world tour. Now, this rebranding strategy showcased her versatility, but more important, her massive appeal. And this has been comparable to the heyday of iconics like the Beatles, Michael Jackson. Her Eras tour alone has garnered immense media attention, and it's estimated to bring in a staggering 1.4 billion, breaking the record of Elton John of 939 million. She has the most #1 singles albums of any female artist. As I said, she is the most influential artist of our generation, and her rebranding, hugely successful.
Yeah, I just couldn't agree with you more. I'm in Los Angeles, so sorry if you hear some sirens in the background. That's downtown life. But she was just here for, I think, 4 days straight. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but I think she was here back to back. She sold out every single night for a high ticket price. I mean, they are pricey. But what I love seeing in the news each day after her performance, she carried that original fan base with her. But now those girls are bringing their kids. There's little kids there. And I'm like, wow, like the
and the girls are bringing their moms.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, okay, this is
generational.
Really, it is. And if you look at, I was looking at some statistics this morning. I think right now it's still very tough for women in the music industry. It's still about 30% are women. It's gone up a lot from like, I think 21% back in 2018 or 19, but we're still the minority in the business. And when you look at her numbers and length of career, and she hasn't done major rebranding. She's done very calculated moves to continue to keep, that steady burn on her business. And she also is unapologetic about some of the decisions she makes. Like she straight up will re-record, her album so that she has a new version out to avoid any infringement or liability of someone else owning her catalog. So it's really impressive, the moves that she's made. And you're right, there really aren't any other influential musicians that you could compare her to, certainly females that have been able to carry this for this long. You could look at other women in the industry who have made a lot more money than she has, believe it or not, because of side businesses, beauty lines. You got to hand it to Rihanna, making so much money with her branded beauty line and clothing. But from an artistic standpoint and the influence as a musician, like she's it. So someone to definitely watch. I wanted to bring up too, Miley Cyrus a bit. She's one of my faves. Lisa, do you want to chat on that a bit, or how are you feeling?
Yeah, so Miley is definitely another significant person who's rebranded. And the reason is She's done it twice. And that's a significant journey. And so let me talk about the similarities that she's done and then where she's differed from Taylor Swift. The similarity is she's had an image makeover, right? She's been this wholesome, clean-cut girl next door Disney image. And then she shifted to this rebellious look with her Bangers album. And then this year she pivoted with her Endless Summer Vacation to this old Hollywood glamour with this sophistication and elegance. It's really amazing. And then, like Taylor, she did this music direction shift, right? She shifted away from that pop oriented to this edgy style to this year to this more mature vibe, right? Now that's where it's the same. Now, here are the differences. She's had provocative performances, right? Her, right, exactly. Her, this has been the centerpiece of her rebranding strategy for Bangers, which has garnered huge media attention and public discussion, right? And that continues today with her Endless Summer Vacation album, with her thought-provoking videos that aligns with her artistic vision, right? The other thing is she's embracing authenticity, right? She openly is expressing herself, her creative vision, and challenging societal norms and expectations, right?
Definitely.
She is engaging in new audiences. She's embracing a broader, more mature audience, attracting new followers who are resonating with her personas. And the last thing is media engagement. In order to generate buzz, she's engaging media with interviews, and then she's also using social media to showcase her image and her new creative direction. So, is this rebranding working? Well, her singles, Flowers, is the biggest hit of this year. In fact, it's racked up 10 weeks at the number 10, and it is the most streamed and downloaded song of the year, transforming Miley from a pop star to a bona fide artist. So yeah, I'd say it's worked.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm all here for it. You know, those Disney artists, and they come in, Disney's amazing, and it's such a machine for these young artists that come through. But when you're done with Disney, you're done. Like, you have to jump. And she took the biggest jump, in my opinion, of all time, of all the Disney kids. Like, she jumped. And I'll never forget being in New York with an artist and her legal counsel. And I looked up in this restaurant, and CNN, it was like national news. She was like on stage in an award show with Robin Thicke, like twerking with very little on. And I was looking up and I was just like, wow, that is national news. So she's gone from the shock factor, which is so impressive to me, to now she's rebranded into this soft, vulnerable, authentic, almost chill Lisa. Her music is like, I can resonate with it so much. And I know a lot of girls can, who are dating or in relationships. She's really writing a lot about her hurt and relationships gone by. It's a beautiful look on her. Her fashion looks amazing. Her body looks amazing. And to me, she feels like she's really comfortable in her skin. And it just, the Gen Z and millennials are really buying it. And so to see her numbers be close to streaming for one track at like 1.3 billion, there's only 8 billion people here on there, like 1.8 billion streams. I would not have like really guessed that from a rebrand. And so pretty impressive for sure. Anyway, Lisa, to share with everyone where we can find you on LinkedIn and on social media, and you're just amazing. So thank you for sharing all this perspective and chatting it up.
I'm here on LinkedIn, Lisa Perry Marketing, and on TikTok, Brand Building. I'd love to connect.
Awesome. So I was thinking we'd take a few questions, and we've got one from Michael. Hey, Michael. Can you dissect the potential risk of artists altering their established brand identity in pursuit of more impactful image And how can these ideas be mitigated? So that's a good point. So you come into the business, right? And a label may pour into you a considerable budget for your branding at one point. And like I said, those days have gone by where artists really come in with no branding. Everyone is pretty much established on social media, has some self-awareness. They may not be huge when they're signed, but they have some self-awareness of who they are. And the label is there to cultivate that, in my opinion. Where days past, the label owned it. Okay. So I think what Michael's question is asking, when you invest in that, what are the risks of rebranding and going a different direction? And I think it's a matter of time. I think is the time right? Do you have the length of time to initiate? Rebranding is not a fast process, in my opinion. It should take a lot of planning. It shouldn't be something that's done in a 30-day period. There's a lot of changes, like I said, that go on with getting to Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music to get your name changed. These are just like tech admin issues, but it's real. It can take a minimum of 2 to 4 weeks with Spotify to get something shifted, if not longer. And then you've got to change all your social media assets and content. All your press has to be new. So it's a really big project. Yeah. So it can be costly if you're with a label, but the benefit to it and to kind of alleviate the risk is that with Miley Cyrus, as you can see, it was a huge advantage to her pocketbook with those kind of streaming numbers. So I say the risks really, the benefits outweigh the risks on this one.
Yeah. Well, when an artist alter their established brand identity in pursuit of a more impactful image, there are several risks that arrive. There's audience disconnection. There's relevancy concerns. There's market confusion. There's negative public perception. There's impact on the industry. All of these come up, but to mitigate these risks, artists can take a number of steps, right? They can do gradual transformation. There's authenticity and transparency, like we talked about with both Miley and Taylor. There's audience engagement. You know, Taylor does this really well. There's targeted marketing. We talked about that well-executed rollout plan. There's consistent messaging. There's being prepared for any backlash. And there's just maintaining that core elements of your focus and transition and maintaining a sense of familiarity for the audience.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, question number one. Another one. Do you think rebranding as a music artist increases their music streams on Spotify? That's a really good question, Lynn. Thank you. I have to tell you, at first, I like to look at rebranding as a very cost-effective way to build an artist's career for the long play. And I don't think anyone getting into the music business is an overnight success. It has been usually a long burn to this point, and things change. And I would say 90% of the music fans, if not, or music artists, if not 100%, are going to rebrand at some point. So it's a very thoughtful process. So to me, I look at rebranding as more of establishing a runway for your career. However, I decided to go and look at Miley's and do a little bit of research since we were talking about Miley Cyrus on Spotify. And like I said, I was blown away when she had a song from one of her earlier albums, I think was garnering like maybe like right at 1 billion. She was back again almost 10 years later with this new single release at 1.8 billion, or well, maybe 1.3, 1.8 billion. That's crazy. Like that, talk about well-spent marketing dollars. Like I didn't really think, I was like, oh, I'd like everybody to rebrand. I didn't really think it could convert to streaming numbers, and it does. Congrats, Miley. I mean, freaking,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, rebranding can significantly affect streaming. As you said, it's the discoverability. It can increase your visibility. It helps with social media promotion. There's playlist inclusions, media coverage, cross promotion. It's so much more impactful and integrated now as a marketing tool than it was in previous years.
Yeah, I agree. Can we take one more question? Do you think we have time? Do a quick, maybe we don't have time. But anyway, Lisa, so awesome to talk to you on this subject. So much more to discuss. And I hope it's helpful to any independent artists that are out there or any labels that are, managing new artists that come on board. Really interesting how much rebranding can affect the overall artist journey. So thank you, everyone. It's been fun. Thank you for coming to Artist Table Talk. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Thanks,
Lisa.